searching for this all my life. You're just my type. I've been looking for a boy who can treat me right. Your dark hair.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. That feels really weird to say. Wow. Well, today we're going to be talking about just the basic differences between film auditions and theatrical auditions. Let's just hop right into it.
Hello, editing me here. Yes, this entire video is out of focus. I'm a bad YouTuber. I didn't want to re-record it. Yes, I realize the irony of talking about video quality being important and then putting this out. Accept it.
So for film, the camera is right in your face. Like it's right there. Whereas in theater, you're performing for a bigger audience and every single person attending the show is supposed to have the same experience from the first row to the last one. There's also just a general difference in styles. Film tends to be more realistic, tends to be more of a person, whereas in theater, there's a bit more whimsy involved. So how do you make that translate in an audition? What do you have to do differently? Film is toned down because even just talking to you, I'm not making that many different facial expressions. You don't have to constantly change your face. The little nuances behind your eyes or in your voice, or even just a twitch of an eyebrow, says all you needed to say. Now, it's not ultra realistic because in a regular conversation, you don't change the tone of your voice all that much. Humans tend to speak rather monotonely. And although you need to incorporate that to some extent in film, you need to change your voice more so that people don't lose interest. So go ahead and tone down everything that you would do for theater and just make it a little bit smaller. Remember that you're a real person, and real people aren't always big and giant, but they can be. Whatever person you're having to portray, make it really true to them. Make it really realistic. Watch a friend that vaguely reminds you of them. How much do they change their voice? How big are their facial expressions? How much do they move their eyebrows? Do they use their hands a lot when they talk? Now obviously in theater or film, but especially in film, you don't want to use your hands too much. But when they get really excited, do they use them sometimes? Everything in general is just more nuanced. You find a lot in the tiniest things. A breath. Taking a breath, not taking a breath. It says something. It's noticeable. It's right there. Does your lip quiver? That's all you need to. You don't need to sob every scene to show that you're a good actor or nervous or scared. You can be much more nuanced. If you're auditioning in person, make sure that you don't look at the camera that might be in front of you. Usually in film auditions, there's a camera and they're recording your audition to see how you work on screen. Look at your reader unless they tell you specifically to look somewhere else. Because in a real scene, when you're on set and filming, it's exactly the same way. Someone's behind the camera and you can't look at the camera. You have to look a little to the side or a little above or wherever they tell you to look. And that's where your scene partner is. They want to feel the connection. They want to see what it looks like when you're looking at another person on camera. For self-tapes, you have to remember that you are the crew. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, you're in charge of the camera, the lighting, the sound, the framing. Everything like that is up to you. And when you're working with people who do films, they notice those things. So if your lighting is bad or there's too many shadows, it's going to distract them from the work that you're actually giving. So don't be afraid to work really hard and change things up so that it's not distracting and they're focused on what you're actually doing. Now for theater, everything's much, much bigger. Don't be afraid to be dramatic. Obviously there's such a thing as too much or forced. You are still playing a real person, just a bigger version so that it comes across on such a big stage. People can be thousands of feet away from you and they still have to get your facial expression. But in the first row, you want to make sure it doesn't look weird either. It's a difficult balance, but once you find it, it's easier, so just play around with it. Don't be afraid to be bolder. Make bigger decisions, make bigger mistakes. Just don't be afraid. Make sure that you remember to play to the back of the room, even if you're auditioning in a small room where the table is maybe only 10 feet away. They want to see how you would do on a big stage, assuming you're not auditioning for a little black box theater. They want to see, do you have enough energy to do it all? Be really energetic. They're looking for performers in the truest sense of the word. Make sure that you project. When you're in film, you don't need to as much because, again, the mic is right there. But in theater, not all theaters have mics. Sometimes they're just relying on really good acoustics. And even if they do, projection is such a major key to being a performer. They want to hear, are you projecting correctly? Is your voice going to be able to hold up because you're projecting correctly? It's part of making them feel the energy of you being able to reach the back of the room. Don't be afraid to be whimsical, especially in musical theater. Whimsy is such a big part of it. It's supposed to be magical and exciting. Don't be afraid to make the choices that make it a little bit more magical, or do something more dumb or interesting or strange. In general, you can just be more free because they're not going to see every little twitch in your face. And lastly, in the basics, don't look at your reader. That's one of the big differences, and I totally did this in my first audition in person for film. I was looking out and not looking at them and talking, and my reader was like, why aren't you looking at me? And then they stopped me and they said, can you look at the reader? And I was like, oh goodness, yes. But in theater, you're never supposed to look at your reader unless specifically instructed to do so. Just like you're not supposed to look at the table you're auditioning for. Don't look at the directors or the choreographers or anything when you're dancing or singing or acting ever. So yeah, don't look at your reader. Look out as if you were performing, because on stage, you often don't look at the people you're in scene with. You look out. And that's all the little tips I have for you guys today. I hope that they helped if you're starting to branch out in what you are auditioning for, whether it be film or theater, or you just wanted to hear if I had anything new to say. I hope that you found any of this helpful. I will see you guys on a screen near you very soon. Subscribe. See you later.
You keep me up at night.